Just think about it. The entire setting of the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim is just very sad. It's a province divided by civil war where state-sanctioned elven secret police patrol and root out dissident Talos worshippers, and where bandits grasp near every fort or crossing, choking the populace for their coin. Skyrim is a place of great uncertainty, a murdered king, a violent upstart, an empire's shadow, and the return of dragons who make pyres of the lands. I believe Skyrim is fundamentally about decay. I mean, look at the original cover of the game. There is the dragon sigil of the Empire, cracked and tarnished. Arguably, all themes exist in some capacity in all stories, but only one or few take center stage. Take prophecy, for example, quite a common trope in the fantasy genre, and in the last 3 mainline Elder Scrolls games, there has been some degree of prophecy involved. Yet I would argue that prophecy is a theme central to Morrowind, a game which throughout the story constantly explores prophecy, challenges it, makes you doubt the validity of prophecies foretold, and you are exposed to real examples and failures of supposed previous Nerevarine incarnates, as well as the overwhelming doubt and religious suppression of the broader Dunmer culture. In a similar way, I would make the case that decay is one of the fundamental themes of Skyrim. Civil war is one of the most overt indicators of societal decay, but in reality, it is a symptom of the deeper problem, not the catalyst in itself. 200 years prior to the events of Skyrim, Martin Septim sacrificed himself to end the Oblivion Crisis, but its effects had already shaped Tamriel forever. Without a new emperor ordained by the divine right of kings, the empire quickly diminished. The Red Mountain of Vardenfell exploded, causing what was practically an apocalypse for the Dunmer people, bye-bye East Empire Company monopoly on ebony and Dwemer artifacts, and to rub salt in the wound, a political faction of Blackmarsh called the Saxil gained power, seceded from the empire, and launched an invasion of Morrowind during the strife. Then Potentate Okato, the man holding the empire together, is assassinated, which leaves the Elder Council arguing over the Ruby Throne. The provinces go haywire, Hammerfell and High Rock once again team up to sack Orsinium, and it took a Colovian warlord named Titus Mede to ride in and capture the imperial city, proclaiming himself emperor before some measure of stability was regained. Soon after, the Thalmor, a radical political party, seized control of the Somerset Isles in a coup, and Valenwood followed suit in the years to come, and during the remainder of the period leading up to the Elder Scrolls V, Elsewhere joined the Aldmeri Dominion, the Great War was initiated, Cyrodiil was ravaged, and Hammerfell seceded and became an independent state, leaving only the Empire-controlled provinces of Cyrodiil, High Rock, and Skyrim. And well, by the beginning of Skyrim, that land is split in half by the Stormcloak Rebellion. And so we arrive at the sorry state of Skyrim. To make the grim even more palpable, you start the game on the back of a cart being sent to your execution. You watch a guy lose his head, and then watch others get burnt to a crisp and flung through the air as a dragon arrives and burns the walls of Helgen down around you. The apocalypse is coming. You escape, of course, and make your way out, and the world's your oyster. But look at the state of it. A natural beauty, to be sure, but the Nords live in the shadows of their ancestors. One of your first sights is likely that of the ancient Nordic ruin named Bleak Falls Barrow, an amazing stonework structure atop a mountain which hides beneath it a network of barrows, tunnels, and door mechanisms that seem to be of far greater craftsmanship than the modern Nords are capable of. Look at the modest town of Riverwood beneath it, simple and rustic. Then we come to the first great city of Skyrim, and what we see is Whiterun, encircled with stone walls crumbling and outer rings of mere wreckage. The city is beautiful still, and Dragon's Reach impressive, but as you talk to people, you soon find that Dragon's Reach, Jorvaska, and the Skyforge are all thousands of years old, built by the ancients. The Jarldom of Whiterun seems to struggle with bandits, as does the rest of Skyrim, but even Fort Greymore, the central fort of the Whiterun Plains, is in the hands of brigands. Major crossroads like the Valtheim Towers are ruled by extortionist highwaymen, and multiple bandit camps are to the north. Poachers run wild, and even smuggling operations right under the noses of the guard. Decay is everywhere, and it's not just exclusive to Whiterun. In Riften, you see the hallmarks of decay in the form of poverty and rampant crime, yet you may be unaware that Riften was once a huge, sprawling city, which makes sense when you look at the sheer size of the sewer network relative to the meager city above. The book Crossed Daggers tells of a Riften that was a major hub of activity for trade caravans and travellers to and from Morrowind. Fishing skiffs could be seen dotting the lake at all hours of the day, and the bustling city was alive with activity at night. The city guard was formidable and maintained a tight grasp on its populace, keeping them safe from harm. The marketplace in Riften was also quite a draw, containing numerous stands offering wares from across Tamriel. The story continues and tells of Hosgun Crossed Daggers, who became Jarl. Some say he murdered the previous Jarl to get to that position, and he ruled Riften with a black heart and an iron fist. In the year 129 of the Fourth Era, the people rebelled and burnt his castle to the ground, but the fire spread out of control, and by the morning, most of the city was destroyed. What you see in Riften today is what remains and what was rebuilt, a crime-ridden den, an echo of its former self. When we mosey on over to Solstheim, we see more decay, Ravenrock turned destitute and ash-smothered, assailed by ash spawn and reavers, in addition to the devious plots from within. Windhelm is beset with severe racial tensions as the seat of a nationalist rebel. Serial killers are on the loose, and the Grey Quarter is a slum of hovels and destitution. Even though the architecture is quite impressive, they again are living in a city built in the Merethic era, a long time before themselves. Markarth is literally a ruin, though, to be fair, a rather grand and well-constructed ruin, but it has its own host of problems and symptoms of decay. Corruption of the guard and local government via the Silverblood family, you have a cult of Namira cannibalizing crypts, you have an ongoing Forsworn rebellion happening all across the Hold, making the Reach one of the most dangerous places in Skyrim. Similar stories are found in near every city, well, if you could even call them that. Falkreath, Morthal, Dawnstar and Winterhold are mere villages in appearance, like an enlarged Cropsford or Hackdirt. Falkreath is ruled by a narcissistic glutton who cares little for rule, and without his notice, the Dark Brotherhood operates nearby. Morthal is ruled by a mystic, or madwoman depending on your perspective, with a populace of high superstition, and a lair of vampires on the outskirts that feed upon said people. Dawnstar is ruled by a cranky old man, and its citizens are plagued by nightmares, the result of a Vaemina cult that made a headquarters of the tower only just up the hill. The capacities of the guards seem greatly diminished outside of their immediate vicinity, and that is perhaps because many have gone off to join the Stormcloak Rebellion. Winterhold, again, is the tale of a once great city diminished by tragedy. It's one of the most obvious examples of decay, considering that this once ancient capital of Skyrim was essentially swallowed by monstrous waves due to an event known as the Great Collapse. Only the college was mysteriously spared, which understandably has brought many to suspect the college's misdoings as the cause. Again, superstition is high and trust is low, and this mistrust of magic ever since the Oblivion Crisis is seen throughout all of Skyrim, and they have only been given reason after reason, to be fair. Daedric invasions, floating cities, necromancers, magic-wielding Thalmor, the Great Collapse, and now the return of dragons. At the very least, you would be wary of one who flings spells for fun. Even the College of Winterhold itself is in a state of decay. There are few inhabitants, fewer apprentices, and it would seem the glory days of the once proud institution are long gone. And while on the topic of factions, let's explore the others. The companions on the surface may seem fine, yet there is the rot of Hircine's curse that has been afflicting them, and even at a more surface level, they seem to be more common mercenaries with a clubhouse rather than the honoured warriors of old. The Thieves Guild of Riften is on its last legs, running out of their precious luck, and few even take the organisation seriously enough when you first join. The Dark Brotherhood is the tattered remainders of disparate assassins with only a single sanctuary left, and they no longer even follow the word of the Night Mother without a listener. Every one of these organizations is in a state of decay until, of course, you, the hero, come to turn things around. But if you were to compare these factions to the guilds of Oblivion or Morrowind, the contrast is clear. In Oblivion, the Thieves Guild is a lucrative business under the leadership of the legendary Grey Fox. The Fighters Guild is a respected institution with guilds in every city, and the same can be said of the Mages Guild, a formalized academic institution of learning with the magnificent Arcane University. and the Dark Brotherhood is flourishing with contracts. Even compare the less accepted facets of society. In Cyrodiil, during the time of Oblivion, every single Daedric prince had a Daedric shrine in good condition with active cultists. In Skyrim, some may have a statue, some may have some cultists, but most are shrines in disrepair or isolation, and some have no shrines at all. Skyrim is clearly riddled with decay. The theme is present in near every aspect of the world space, and I've not yet addressed the main story. Dragons have returned, great-scaled beasts set upon dominating and burning the world, led by the World Eater Alduin, the very mythic symbol of the end times, long relegated to Nordic superstition in a time when the Imperial faith has reigned so dominant that even the Stormcloak's rebellion against the Empire is based upon the right to worship the Empire's god and founder, Talos. Dragons have returned, and all is lost. The people cannot prevent the end. The institutions of Tamriel are powerless, it seems, to even rule themselves.
But there's one they fear. In their tongue, he is Dovahkiin, Dragonborn.
You are the chosen one, the unlikely hero, the messiah out of nowhere, the bringer of rebirth, the revitalizing force to this world of decay. The stage of Skyrim is set to be a disaster, a deluge of disrepair, and only you can fix it. Of course, your unlikely role of Dragonborn and ability to learn the dragon tongue is key to defeating the dragons and Alduin himself, yet you are also the lucky charm that may help the Thieves Guild to glory once more. You're the long-awaited listener of the Dark Brotherhood. You're the face foreseen by Kodlak in his dreams, here to set the companions on the right path again. And the College of Winterhold? Well, yeah, we don't talk about that one. But in many ways, this is explaining the reasons as to why Skyrim is a power fantasy, with all its Chosen One contrivances. However, when looked at through a different lens, it is thematically coherent if you treat the Dragonborn as a messianic figure who is here not only to prevent the apocalypse, but to regenerate unity and hope wherever they go. It also makes a great setup for a personal adventure, but I can't help but think this overall theme was somewhat intentional. Consider that sword and sorcery, ultra-heroism of fictions like Conan the Barbarian have been stated as influence on Skyrim's initial design. I don't have a neat conclusion. This video was kind of a spur-of-the-moment thought piece. But when you play Skyrim next, play it with this in mind. You'll see the decay everywhere in near every aspect of the game. As a quick aside, we've been really busy with dealing some personal life things that need to get dealt with, but lore videos are coming, and the next Let's Play of Soul and Dress in Skyrim should be out by the end of February. I like to take my time with them so I don't get burnt out on any particular playthrough. Also, check out our shorts. We've been putting out shorts content to see how that all goes. And yeah, my name's Scott from Fudge Muppet. Like the video, subscribe for more, and I'll be back to nerd out with you again next time.